Hello, this is on the middle way, number 10, on the imagination. So the middle way approach to the mind is always having a synthesis, an integration and a commingling, you could say, of the main approaches and functions of the mind, the way that the mind works. So thinking, emotions, feelings, imagination, and so on. So this is going to be mostly about the imagination and how there is a middle way approach within imagination itself, as well as the bigger picture of the imagination and thinking and emotions all being in a creative relationship to each other. So on the you could say the unhelpful side of imagination that takes you away is a pure fantasy. Fantasy that actually usually is a story in some form that you live or in some way related to you, and in some way serves your sense of yourself, either by aggrandizing yourself or diminishing yourself, but it's still about you. And in this way you're caught up in a world which can be visual, not necessarily so, but it can be full of feeling and sense as well. But when you're in a fantasy world, you're definitely away. You're away from being present, engaged, absorbed in the process of noticing what's happening and just generally being in a creative process. You could say, some people might say, that being in a fantasy is a creative process, but it's not in as much as it's disconnected from all the other main functions. Creativity and the creative process is an integrated process where all the functions come together. So in relationship to the unhelpful side of the imagination, it's quite interesting, this area, and in a way there's a lot to it, but I'm just going to touch on it. It's when one enters into the realm of archetypes, symbolism, personal and in terms of the world, and gets lost in the archetype. So you feel that you are an archetype, you are living an archetypal relationship, and you lose contact with your physical instincts and your thinking and your general perception of what's happening, because you're lost in what you feel is your process, but it's only in terms of archetypes. So the more useful middle way approach to the imagination in practice is, I think, primarily through metaphor. Metaphor gives you a picture of how you are, where you are, what's going on. And to develop the language of metaphor is to enter into the middle way, and because it's very practical, it gives you a sense of what's here and what's needed, rather than taking you away from what's here and what's needed, or having a very particular sense of what's here that is only part of the picture. So, for example, a very useful way of entering into being familiar with the metaphoric way of relating to yourself is to periodically just ask for an image of what is going on here. What is the situation? If it was a picture, what would it look like? And it could be something from nature, it could be a thing. I think that when one is starting to explore the positive use of imagination through metaphor using water images is the most useful. So asking something like, if at the moment I'm water, what kind of water am I like? And being open to a water image, whatever that is, and you get a sense of, does it fit how you are, your energy, your mood, the way that you're being focused or broadly experiencing yourself. So what it does is that it gives you a picture of how you are, which allows you to have a sense of what's needed. So there might then be a conscious adjustment, or even just an internal, almost intuitive adjustment. Oh, so I'm all frothy, calm. That calm might come from thinking, or it might just come intuitively. Oh, this needs to happen, I need to calm, go deeper. And then the next time you ask for a water image, it could well be quite different. It could be much more expansive, like a vast lake or ocean with a sense of brightness. Hello, this is number 9 in the Middle Way series. So the main focus now is on thinking, and there is the broader picture of the polarization between thinking, emotions and instincts, but for the moment just going to focus on polarization within the thinking process and how there can be a positive use of thinking in practice of awareness, meditation and mindfulness generally. So one of the ways of looking at thinking very generally in terms of awareness is it taking you away or helping you come into awareness. So being distracting, being in its own world, being not present and not helping you be present, or actually helping you be present and engaged. The sort of, as it were, downside of the thinking that is not helpful but focused on awareness is when your thinking is very controlling to the degree that it doesn't actually allow you to be aware. It's saying, it's always talking at you. Now do this, be aware, feel that, take on this, what's happening, check this. That's overthinking in relationship to being aware, and it's not helpful. The more kind of distracted kind of thinking just has no relationship to the process of what you're being aware of, and it just takes you away completely. So what we're looking for in our practice of awareness, mindfulness and in meditation generally is a middle way where your thinking actually comes into relationship to the process of being present, alive to your experience, keeping direction and having clear intentions. Your thinking can give you direction. It can be clear about that. And using this thinking in a middle way, kind of way, allows it to you to be aware, to be in touch without over-controlling what's happening. So it gives direction. It gives a sense of perspective of what's happening. I'm doing this now. There's this going on. And at the same time, the thinking coexists with the experience of the body, the mood and emotions. It doesn't either go away or take you away or over-control you. So this middle way approach to thinking is that it serves your process of coming into integration. It serves your process of coming into awareness. It serves your purpose of growing and developing and seeing things clearly and being honest, while at the same time not being over dominant and over controlling.